Hello and welcome to Thriven Authority, the home channel for all tips and tricks on life and education, work, and just about everything. Today, it's time to help out some students. Are you a student, whether high school or college, experiencing difficulties in your process of studying? Do you want to study and understand, but find that every method you apply just isn't working? Have you ever tried taking notes, preparing before class, going over the topics relentlessly, but still can't figure out how to get them to stick in your memory? Have you thought of or tried several ways to make your studying productive, but none has worked for you yet? Well, if you are experiencing problems with studying, then something must be wrong with your studying technique. The truth is, most students believe that they are studying. However, the study technique that they are applying isn't right. And in fact, research might have proven it to be very bad. Of course, it will work out for some people, but in the most realistic view, many will never benefit from it. You might be wondering, what are these bad study techniques that I shouldn't engage in? Well, there are many of them. However, we'll try to go over a few of the most common ones. However, before we proceed, why not help support the channel by tapping on that subscribe button and turning on that notifications bell? Now, let's get started. Bad technique number 1. Refreshing topics in your memory often. Sometimes, somewhere, you might have muttered to yourself that if you can just keep on reading that page for the next few hours, then you will know so well that you get to access it right from the tip of your tongue. The idea is great, but have you heard of what we call the fluency illusion? Well, this term unravels the fact that because you can easily recall the information doesn't mean you won't forget it over time. In fact, studies on the fluency illusion show that the easier it is for you to remember, the more likely it becomes for you to forget it. If you are wondering why this is so, then you should know that a scientific study conducted by many, including that of R.A. Bjork and Allen, show that there should be successive spaces between the retrieval of information and the relearning of that information. This means you need to forget to a certain level to actually learn better. Bad technique number 2, getting a study buddy. Don't be too surprised, but if the only way you study is by partnering with someone else, then that innocent study partner of yours might just be aiding your inability to solve those technical equations. Think about it. All a study buddy can do is give you the motivation to rise up and head to the library together. Apart from that, there's nothing else. You might go on telling yourself you get to practice problems together and share common ideas. However, according to lifehack.org, solving problems with someone else is the best way to trick yourself into believing that you can actually solve the problem. All you just do is nod along. After nodding along, try reproducing the problem yourself and solving it. You'll become aware that you can't actually do it. Don't get us wrong, you should still make friends and have study buddies. However, be accountable also and try doing things rather than just watching and nodding along as others do the solution. Bad technique number 3, finding a quiet place and sticking to it. Turn down the music and be quiet. Why in the world would someone read where it is noisy, right? Well, it is great to have a quiet and calm place where you can get to concentrate and stay less distracted. However, the concept of finding that quiet place and sticking to it isn't such a good idea. In fact, science shows that it is a bad study technique. The brain most times works by connecting neurons carry certain information with each other. This allows it to bind the knowledge to something with the type of environment in which it was gained. And when you continuously teach your brain to take in and receive information in a quiet place, it becomes difficult to utilize that information under the noisy atmosphere and intense pressure of an exam hall. In fact, Johns Hopkins research confirms that by performing a modified version of a task, you can learn faster than repeating the same thing over and over. So, if your best study techniques are bad, then which ones are the good ones? Well, we've got a few for you, so let's go over them. Best technique 1, retrieval practice. Do you also spend hours reading your notes with the belief that you are studying? And how far has that gone? Not so much, right? Well, even researchers have proven this method to be less effective. When you have the information right in front of you, you don't actually force your brain to create a long-term lock for it. You think that you know it, and sure, you do, but it's just sitting in your short-term memory. To better task your brain into remembrance, you should try to retrieve information without the help of support materials. A theory by cognitive scientists called the study phrase retrieval theory also confirms this, saying that successfully retrieving an information from your memory makes it harder to forget the information. Rather than just continually study from a note, try studying a few times without the note. Best technique 2. Intentional learning. When you study, the desire you mostly have is to study to know and eventually ace your exams. Though this desire in itself is complete, scientific research has shown that learning not just to know alone is even more advantageous. Learning not only to know, but to understand and be able to teach it to others is what we refer to as intentional learning. When you approach studying with an intention to be able to remember and teach others in later periods, it becomes possible for you to cover even difficult concepts better. According to John Nestoshko, in a psychology research, simply informing students that they will be teaching a concept later in class shifted their intention and made them engage with the course material in a more effective and productive way. By switching your intention towards learning, you help your brain to be more organized, logical, and coherent. Best technique 3. Spaced practice. Remember when we said continually reading your material without breaking is bad? Well, it is, and instead of continually reading, scientific study has shown that including spacing your study session can help foster better remembrance. Spaced practice follows from the principle that the brain physically changes in structure whenever we learn new things. And in order to learn things effectively, it is better to study in small parts over a longer time period than to study all at once. According to cognitive scientist Jana Weinstein, whenever you leave a little space between learning, maybe a few hours or a whole day, you forget a bit of information, and this forgetting actually fosters stronger memory. This is because the brain does better at encoding information into the synapses at intervals rather than at once. Best technique 4. Mind mapping. Don't worry, this isn't any technical related technique. Mind mapping simply involves the visualization of information with diagrams, sketches, and other related means. To show you how effective this method can be, science has confirmed that 65% of the whole population are visual learners, and that the ability of learners to think in pictures and mental images for information retention allows visual learners to be more intelligent. Mind mapping allows you to understand a single concept by visually linking it with other concepts. The versatility of a mind map also ensures that you also maintain fun while learning. But that's not all. A research title, Making Learning Visible, showed that meaningful learning is achieved with the mind mapping technique. The research proceeds to confirm that mind mapping forces students to connect new learnings with previous knowledge, and this, according to another scientific, is called associative learning and can help result in quicker and better learning. And there you have it, the good and the bad techniques. Consider where you fall, implement changes, and let us know results in the comments below. Also, if you'd love to see more of our helpful and research-backed tips, then do well to support us by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and tapping on the notifications bell. Thanks for watching.